inspections. Always likes things with a little bit of an introduction. I'm the Director of Landmark. My background is building and construction. I started in a trade back in the year 2000, went on to become a builder before going into inspections back in 2015. I've completed over 5,000 building inspections myself, and the team at Landmark have done well over 20,000. Landmark Inspections concentrates on 4 key areas. So we do construction stage inspections, which are quality assurance. We don't work with any builders. We're working solely with homeowners to provide peace of mind. We do a lot of pre-purchase building inspections, which you're building in timber pest before you're buying a home, as well as investigative building inspections for if you're finding some cracks or something like that, or water issues in a property. We'll try to identify what has caused those, so a remedial plan can be developed to rectify the issue. We also do rental compliance assessments, which are gas, smoke and electrical assessments on rental properties across Victoria. I'm going to go into a bit of a case study which shows the importance of quality assurance inspections through homes under construction and building under construction. So this is a project we took over about 3 years ago. One builder had started the project. The developer had ended the contract with that builder and was bringing another builder in. Before a second builder takes over a project, a full inspection needed to take place to ascertain if there were any issues in the building and the structure. So the first step was to get all the documentation. So we got all of the plans, the engineering, the reports, including building reports, and we reviewed these. All the building reports were clear, so we thought we're going into a pretty good constructed building. We then went on to do a site assessment and then provided ongoing assistance also. Here's the building here. It was a 3-storey apartment building under construction, predominantly constructed with a lot of concrete, and the top floor was of Hebel veneer construction. It was 3 levels with 7 apartments and a basement within it. We always start our inspections methodically, either from the top or the bottom, from the left or the right. This one was started in the basement, walking through, and we found this honeycombing of the concrete, the suspended slab. This was exposing the steel reinforcement, which can cause to ongoing concrete cancer developing and a lot of structural concerns later on down the track. We continue up, there's block walls throughout the building supporting concrete slabs above. Numerous of these walls, which were completely load bearing, had no concrete in them. So we had tons and tons, tens of tons of concrete supported on Besser blocks, which are 20 mil thick cement blocks. No concrete at all. Externally around the basement was 3 metres deep. It was backfilled with clay. About the worst material you can backfill against a retaining wall with. It causes excessive hydrostatic pressure to build up behind the wall. It is the number one cause of structural failure of retaining walls, is inadequate drainage material behind the wall. On the roof, we jump up and it looked okay at first glance until we compared it to the material to the pitch of the roof. They'd used inappropriate roofing material. So it was a 1 degree pitched roof. The material used had to have a minimum pitch of 3 degrees, which is likely to cause leaks in the future. So what we did here, we did the initial consulting. We provided our report to the developer. He almost fell off his chair, as you can imagine. He thought the build was going along pretty smoothly, and then he got this report. He goes, "Oh my God, where do I even start?" He's approached his engineer, his design engineer. The design engineer said, "Pull it down. It's unsalvageable." $1.2 million of build he'd done there, and he's being told to pull it down. It was shattering for him. So he came back to us and said, "Brendan, can you help us with this?" We work with some forensic engineers. We're really fortunate to have some really good partners with us. We were able to help design a solution to retain the building with an absolute shitload of work to be done, if I might say. That poor developer was out of pocket over $250,000 in rectification work. That's before legal costs. We spoke to him about 7 or 8 months ago. He'd spent well over $100,000 in legal costs to date, and they still weren't at court against the original builder. So this poor guy was out of pocket himself. We'll go on to go through some of our services. I think that previous example gives a really clear indication of what value we have of providing peace of mind to a homeowner that's building a home. So we'll go through the key stages of a build to make sure the builder is doing a good job. They're following the correct plans, the engineering specifications, as well as Australian standards. We have a goal of providing peace of mind to the client, but also lifting the industry standard as well. And some builders really get on board with our inspections because they can see the benefit to them, which is minimising warranty callbacks later on. So it's not a bad thing for those guys either. So our services, we have up to 7 inspections that we offer. We do a board piers inspection. We do a pre-slab inspection prior to the concrete being poured. This is to assess the steel reinforcement and the foundations of the home. Once the concrete is poured, this can't be assessed any longer. If something isn't right at that stage, it won't be found for 5, 10, 15 or 20 years' time. By which stage the builder's warranty has expired and you're handling the burden of the rectification cost yourself. The next stage is the frame inspection. So at the frame inspection, we're looking at the key structural members, as well as the bracing items, tie downs, roof framing, things like this. We also do a complementary slab finish inspection, where we're checking the levels of the slab, as well as the edges of the slab. The next inspection is a pre-plaster plumbing inspection. At the plumbing inspection, this is very important for double-storey homes in particular, where we can assess the above-ground sewerage system. The amount of faults we find on it are absolutely astounding. In particular, not enough gradient on the drain, which will result in future blockages. People try to do away with bulkheads in rooms during construction because they're unsightly. That's fantastic. However, you need your sewerage system to have enough gradient as well. If it doesn't, it will block up. We also do a pre-plaster plumbing building inspection, That's checking that the home is first and foremost watertight. We also go through some of the services. It's not an in-depth assessment of the electrical and plumbing, but broadly it's a fairly good inspection. We check insulation. We check all the straightening of the walls and the ceilings has occurred, as well as a re-inspection of the frame. So any defects that were found on the frame inspection, we want to make sure they've been rectified before it gets covered up. The next inspection is a fixing inspection, which we always combine with the waterproofing. The main element being the waterproofing. We want to make sure there's no leaks once the home's occupied. We also assess that the walls are straight and within tolerance, ceilings are level, the plastering's been completed to a good standard, doors and windows have been installed properly, things like this. That flows into the practical completion inspection. Now, if we've been engaged in the first 6 inspections, the practical completion inspection should be a breeze, because there isn't any walls out of plumb, there isn't any roof leaks, because they've all been assessed, they've been found and rectified previous to this stage. Unfortunately, if we're only engaged at the practical completion stage, we're finding these things then, which also lead to further problems internal to the walls, internal to the ceilings, which can't be assessed now. Things like mould. If there's a roof leak, insulation's got wet, plasterboard's got wet, the builder will see the roof leak, he'll fix the roof leak, but he's not going to pull plaster and insulation out because no one can see it. If no one can see it, it doesn't exist in his eyes. We also do, as I said, the rental compliance assessments. So as of March last year, there's now a rental minimum standards. All homes must comply. So they must be structurally sound. They must have locks on doors. They must have bins at the property. Things like this. They must have adequate ventilation in each room. We assess these things to make sure that the rental provider is meeting their requirements. Same thing with the gas and electrical safety assessments, as well as the smoke alarms. So smoke alarms in all rental properties in Victoria must be assessed every year, regardless of the age of the property. The gas and the electrical installations must be assessed every 2 years. This is, again, really important, particularly with the gas safety checking. So heaters, and we're finding a lot of heaters that are only 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, and they've got cracked heat exchangers. They may or may not be leaking carbon monoxide at this point. If they're not right now, they're likely to in the very near future. So this is really important because it's proactive maintenance rather than reactive maintenance, but this has a safety element to it. Pre-purchase inspections. So all of our guys, not all of our guys, most of our guys are qualified timber pest inspectors as well. We investigate structural concerns first and foremost, but we go a little bit beyond that. So we actually list maintenance concerns as well. So things like leaves in gutters, or some caulking around a fixture may be failing. We'll list this in our report, so you have a very clear understanding of what maintenance concerns are at the property, as well as structural concerns. We want to give you every bit of information you can get before you make the decision to buying that property. Our reports are issued the same day. So all of our reports are issued by about 8 p.m. that night. Again, to fast track your decision making. We don't want to be the obstacle between you purchasing or not purchasing a property. And we've got an issue here. Is there more slides there, mate? No? Okay, we have an issue. So there's no more slides. I think that might conclude what I'm talking about. Does anyone have any questions? Yeah, sure. Yep. Yes. Yes, absolutely. So when we find defects in a construction stage inspection, we actually send our reports to the builder as well as the homeowner, again to expedite the rectification process. Once I've got the report, we don't follow the builder up after that. However, we do reassess at the next inspection. We also recommend to our clients to seek either a report or photographs from the builder, which can be forwarded across to us, and we can assess those photos or the report from the builder in reply to our report. Really good question. So there are some inspectors out there that go nitpicking. We're not like that. We find legitimate concerns. Because of that, we have a strike rate between 85 and 90% that the builder rectified. We tend to find they'll argue 10 to 15% of our findings, which is usually a monetary thing. They don't want to spend the money in getting the trades back to rectify stuff. But we have a pretty good strike rate because we don't find stuff that is not reasonable, basically. Yeah. So, if there's no other questions, I will be over at D4, the Landmark Inspections stand, which is the second from the start, the second row from the start. If anyone wants to pop over there, I'm happy to discuss a little bit further. Thank you.